in the round of 16. Still, he was able to beat out Sen and Tasia, two phenomenal players. We'll see if he can do similar results over here. Let's head into the game. We're on Polar Knights. All right, guys, spawning in the bottom middle position of Polar Knights, the Axiom player. Give him your support. It is Hart. And the opponent of Hart, he's spawning in the top middle position, the Red Terran. The WCS Season 2 winner, it is CM Storm's Polt.
And Polar Knight is dark and full of Terrans, Andre. Who do you think will come out in this game?
I don't know, man. It's difficult. I mean, obviously the big favorite is Polt in this position, but anything can happen. And I am rooting for Hart a little bit, because you know we really haven't been able to see what he's capable of so far. Polt has been able to shut down any aggression that we see from our Axiom player, and the main thing that we should focus on is how aggressive he's been the last two games. I mean, he's really been trying to put the pressure on in that mid-game stage. He takes more of a passive route in the beginning and then tries to macro. Yeah, he has a little aggression here and there, but overall, he tries to just get his economy, and then from there, really puts on the pressure before 3 base really starts up.
And you definitely can't count Hart out. He's had pretty good openings, in my opinion, in the last two games.
I would say both games he was in a winning position.
Well, a winning position against any other Terran besides Polt, because when Polt's behind, that's when he's actually ahead.
Yeah, it almost seems like that, right? I mean, it's just amazing how Polt is, it's just so basic, it's fundamental, but at the same time, it's so complicated with finding out, like, it's like he has a map hack, but he's sending out small groups of units to just check where his opponent is, and then he adjusts accordingly. It's almost like he has a map pack with the way he moves around the map. Of course he doesn't, because he's playing with our computers. We can see that he's not. But it is really astounding. Now Hart is doing the refinery first, and he's only gotten a single Marine and putting a tech labs on. This is to lift up the barracks and make it so that there's no extra time that you need to put the starport, lift it up, and then land it down. That's an extra, 10 seconds. Your Banshee could have been flying across the map. 10 seconds is also enough time to kill like 4 SCVs. So, very valuable time.
And it looks like we might see that mirror Banshee against Banshee this game. We've seen that in the past, and it kind of comes down to who utilizes their Banshees better while defending. It's a very multitask-oriented thing, because you have to be microing the Banshee to your best while defending against their Banshee.
And it can be tricky. When that happens, I mean, Widowmine hits actually come into effect so much, because you can hide Widow Mines, here I'll show you real quick, right over here and then right over in front of the refineries, and what happens is that the actual refinery, that command center, will hide the little thing that pops up from the Widow Mines, the spot in the ground, and from there, if Banshees fly in, it'll be their doom. And that's definitely a little trick that we probably will see over here, as a Helling is going to be made. What's up?
I accidentally switched my hotkeys, and I'm not sure how to give vision of both players anymore.
Okay, I got you.
You know all the hotkeys, Andre.
I got you.
Thanks.
Banshees are going to be moving across the map pretty soon here. It's actually not that different. I did want to mention before that Polt was somehow slightly ahead with his starport, just a couple of seconds. And because of that, well, Polt is going to make it in good time. And we're going to find out. Ravens are both players. Cloak is just about finished, so they're both playing it exactly how Polar Knights is normally played.
Yep, both saving 1 scan until that Raven is out as well.
Yes. Well, hopefully. That is the standard thing to do. And we're going to see who's the better multitasker. No Widow Mines out for either of these players. Marine's just going to go head-to-head. And I think Hart's marking this pretty well so far. On the other side, the Banshee is doing a lot of damage, but the Raven is finally out. Still only one. Oh, auto turret goes down. and is not able to clear everything out. On the other side, though, look at this. Hart hasn't lost a single, well, now he is, but he didn't lose any hit points at the time. Let's take a look at the units lost. 500 resources lost. Hart playing this out a lot better so far than Polt.
Yep, 9 kills for Hart's Banshee so far, only 7 for Polt.
And it's growing, too. It's because he still has a little bit of energy left, and he has a lot of health. And now he will kill an extra Marine and just back off because he knows the Vikings are out. And you can do that because, well, you're doing mirror builds. So you know when you're making your Viking, that's the same time your opponent will have the Viking out. So it's a really easy way to adjust and see what's going on.
Hart with a slightly faster orbital on that second command center to just give him the meals a little bit earlier.
And so far, I mean, I would say Hart has the slight advantage, but it's nothing too major. And as you said earlier, this is the position that Polt actually loves to be in. Yes, he's behind, but he's secretly ahead because of how good he is playing from behind. But nothing just yet. Stim is going down a little bit faster. Stim enables you to just play a little bit faster, more on the map. So we will have a map control advantage over for Polt. No early third command center from either of these players so far.
Yep, both have the exact same counts of units. 1 Banshee, 1 Viking, 1 tank, 7 Marines, and a Raven for each player. Hart does have a small SCV lead, though.
How would you say you should play this map out? Okay, you have 2 bases, you have a lot of units. Where are you going to place them to attack your opponent?
I think you want to kind of do a push with tanks and Marines and set up a kind of small contain against your opponent. Because if you look at the cliff to the main, it's a lot easier for Hart to do this kind of doom drops on this map than on the previous maps.
Yeah, so set up right here, you're saying.
Yeah, so just set up a nice contain, and then if you see an opportunity, go drop the main with everything. And I think this will favor Hart's style to some degree.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree to that. The only problem is, like, because that's such a huge point of contestation, you can even see that, hey, please drop me over here. Polt and Hart should both be defending this wide area. If this is ever given up, it's going to be a little bit difficult for the defending Terran to actually come back from that, just because the positional advantage will allow you to siege up, as you said, Ghost User, on top of all of the production facilities. We do have Hart moving out first, scanning and picking off that Banshee, but now Polt is going to move out. You can see he's reacting. He doesn't want that position to be given up. So really nice play so far by Polt. And you can see he really knows how to play out this map. Still, no third command center being put down, just constant production by both of these players. And do you ever think this is a map where you just stay on 2 base? Like, why aren't we seeing a third command center super early?
Well, Hart, sometimes the style just favors a later third command center, as we saw in the previous game. Polt, though, I think he's just playing it because last game Hart took such a late third. He wants to make sure he's safe against any kind of pressure.
Polt is moving out, trying to claim a watchtower. That's going to go through this. Ooh, auto turrets are going to be dropped down for both these players, and there's so many siege tanks for Polt. He's going to be able to just burn through the rest of the army, killing every single siege tank without losing a single one for himself. Now killing the Vikings. I don't know how he breaks a sieged up position in the middle of the map. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. The auto turrets were plentiful for both players, but Polt able to just micro that a little bit better. Now Banshee over here on the side.
I think the biggest story of this series so far is that Hart just isn't as careful with his tanks as Polt is. We've seen numerous times Hart losing siege tanks in one way or another, and Polt just retains his tanks a lot better, and because of that he's able to take fights in better positions.
Yeah, 5-2 at this point in terms of tank count. And yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, you saw that for sure on Yonsu, where Polt was able to grow that tank count continuously and then overwhelm his opponent at that end stage and just muscle his way onto the map rather than doing some finesse play, you know, like a drop play, trying to displace units. Polt is just on top of his TVT, man. And now we have a confrontation in the middle of the map yet again. A nice pickup from Hart. He'll take the win right there, taking out one of the siege tanks, but still needs to work on it a little bit more. 5-4.
Polt needs to be careful with these kind of pushes he's doing, though, because Hart does have the Marine lead, and the Marine lead is what matters most in these situations.
Well, we're going to see a sieged up Polt, and he takes out another siege tank, and he has the Zellnager tower here to help out a lot. I don't think this, whoa, it does go down before this siege tank. And a couple of Hart units will be rallied in, but there is a drop in the back of the main base that will be promptly taken out.
Cloaked Banshee in the natural Polt, though, is getting more kills. Just took out a depot. I think it took out a refinery and has been killing SCVs as well.
And Polt's just going to drop back because he doesn't have enough support units. Still both these players on 2 bases. Polt has his 3rd command center. Do we have a 3rd command center over for our other Terran player? No, we do not. So things aren't looking so great for Hart, as he might be witnessing a small deficit. Let's take a look at the upgrades. 1-0 for Polt, and it is 1-0 for Hart, so equal upgrades.
And Hart is starting his 3rd base now, and somehow Hart's at about a 10 supply lead here, which is kind of nice. He's up 20 Marines against 11, even though he's a siege tank disadvantage, he also has a slight worker lead.
I think it's coming down to his worker lead, honestly.
That's not that big of a deal, though, because Polt's earlier command center gives him more meals.
That's true. Well, now it is, right? Like, he just got the command center, or the orbital command center. It's not been for a long time. I think Polt should be able to catch up, and you can see his bank kind of insinuates that we will be seeing a much more aggressive production line.
Hart's good at making Marines, though. Somehow he always makes more than Polt in these last few games.
I agree. But these Doom drops just have not been working out nearly as well. And it's almost like Polt realizes that there's an impending Doom drop. And now Stim Marines are going to get in here. Oh, gosh, that's so scary.
Yeah, I think Polt, he kind of knows how Hart plays. Every game he's setting up this missile turret ring around his main base.
And he's able to defend against that pretty easily, but still that Doom drop gives him map control, right? He's able to exercise his units on the map. And that's really nice for Hart, especially in TVT. I mean, if you have the better position, you will normally have the win. Although right now all of Hart's units aren't together, and he could be witnessing a really, really bad engagement. But no, he's going to back up from here.
But Polt needs to be kind of careful. Oh,
a great engagement by Hart, and he's able to surround all the units. Is it going to be enough, though, as the siege tanks will be able to splash enough units and back Hart up? That's where Hart is using his advantage in Marines, but he does witness right now a 10 Marine deficit. It's still not that bad.
He has secured a siege tank lead, though, which is actually the first time in the series that he's gotten more tanks.
Yeah. Command center is going to be thrown down over in the mid-left-hand position. Polt still not able to use his 3rd command center the way he wants to. Of course, over here on one of the patches, or over here, or even the back right-hand corner.
And I like how Hart's playing out this game so far. He's taking pretty good map control in the early mid-game, which should theoretically help him set up good fights and let him do some good moves. Maybe sneak a medevac drop in here, maybe set up a better siege tank line there.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what taking map control is all about, right? You're able to set those up a lot more effectively. Ooh, Polt takes a big shot on his siege tank. But now it's going to move across, and he has to be careful because the attack into this area can do a lot of damage, as we were talking about in the very beginning stage. But the siege tanks are not sieged up yet, or unsieged to mobilize to do something with that. Now Polt's Marines just sprinting forward, splitting up. The one siege tank is all alone, and Polt will get additional area to work with, but he needs to be careful because there is an impending attack.
From both sides here.
Yeah, I think so. Polt needs to siege up right now, but I think even that, it's too much. Marines from both sides outnumbering siege tanks now, just absolutely in gorgeous numbers. Hart cleaning through.
That's an enormous win by Hart. He just picked off a lot of siege tanks. He even got some medevacs, and he took another Marine lead. That's the fight Hart needed to come back into this game.
That's right. I mean, I think, honestly, Hart was in a better position at that point. But we're witnessing, again, another upgrade lead. 2-2 about to finish. And +2 weapons just started. It's going to be 1-1 against 2-2. This is where things can snowball yet again out of control. And I think if Polt plays this well, he can have another cost-efficient fight, although this is a serious army deficiency right now.
And Hart has a lot more medevacs. That should help his Marines until the upgrades. are in Polt's
Oh,
favor.
we're going to find out. +2 attack is just about to finish, and there it is. So just like a trigger, he's able to be so cost efficient with these Marines now pushing forward, able to micro through all these siege tanks, and he crushes the attack. Wow, it's such seesaw action, taking his third base. Polt holding off barely, but he does hold off. 2-2 now about to finish, and he will have much more cost efficient Marines than his opponent. Wow, that's that's really surprising. Army tab, let's take a look at it right now. 52-65, a slight advantage for Hart. So again, we're in a position where Hart doesn't have the better quality units, but he has the better quantity of units.
These extra medevacs don't seem to be doing so much for Hart in the fights either.
The burst damage. I mean, the Marines now do burst damage because of the upgrade difference. Right? If you're equal, I mean, obviously medevacs help out a lot more.
Yeah,
it's all about percentages.
I almost think Hart might be overmaking his medevacs to some degree. He has 11 on the field now, and he's still producing them 2 at a time.
Wow, yeah. I think so. Because you can, I mean, each medevac, you can say it's, 1 point something siege tanks. It constitutes a large portion. Marine's going to spread in, but they have to back up. What does Polt look to do with this small time that he has? He has about 40 seconds, 30 seconds before the 2-2 advantage is up.
I think it's kind of hard for him to press the advantage, though, just because he's down in supply. So even though he has more units, with the defensive siege tank positioning and just more units overall, I think Hart should be able to defend until his upgrades are done.
Hart again preparing for a triple medevac drop. I don't think this is going to be spotted. And Polt, he's just set up very defensively. I think Polt might think he's really, really, really far behind. A lot more than he actually is. I think Polt is barely behind, but we'll see. I think this is Hart's big advantage, or at least something that can really exacerbate his advantage at this point. But 3-3 is on the way.
Oh, did the Marines see those medevacs? I think it might have.
I don't know. But where is he even going to drop?
I think he's going to go in the natural.
No, it's just going to be parked out here.
Oh, this is smart. This is much better to land them over there and then run into the natural.
But remember, he is still witnessing an upgrade disadvantage, so he needs to be careful with this. But able to get some really nice kills so far. Siechenko is going to pop out at the perfect time, and Marines sprint back. There is no attack in the front because there's a good line of units. And we're going to find out, can Hart do the damage that he needs to do? All the medevacs are already down, but he has expendable medevacs. Every single Marine gets obliterated in the front. And Polt, yet again, able to defend and make the comeback, or potential comeback.
And if he defends until his third level of upgrades completes, he'll again have an incredible upgrade lead against Hart.
Hart again moving across to the right-hand side. Unit should be prepped to defend against that. Nice scan and actually sees all the units unsieged. And it'd be best for Polt not to engage into that. Behind this, let's see, Hart, has he taken on a third command center, or a fourth command center? A third base at this point, since the main is dried out for the most part. He has not. So both these players on very low income.
And the clock is ticking. Hart has less than 30 seconds to do a timing attack before this upgrades kick in for Polt. And I don't think he's in a position where he can make that timing attack.
I don't think so.
And once his upgrades kick in, it's going to be tough for him.
2-1 against 3-3. I mean, we saw the effects of this last game, and it is ugly. I mean, you can just do some absurd surrounds knowing that your opponent's Marines do virtually nothing to you with the amount of medevacs that are out on the field. Even with this, units tab, let's take a look. 7 medevacs. I mean, that's still a pretty comparable amount. And you're going to see a very small task force of Marines just sprinting forward, being able to do a lot, and cutting supplies, going over to the left-hand side, things like that. And we're going to see that right now. Look at that. 8 Marines are going to sprint forward, take over the watchtower. And is 3-3 finished? Yes, it is. So he can actually take engagements like this, knowing that he's so far ahead with his upgrades. And he's going to do it. He's sprinting forward. Here's his 3-3 timing. Marines are going to engage. Great split so far. Only a single siege tank. Look at how fast that dies. And it looks like Hart is moving on in, but this is not an engagement that you can take because of 3-3 Marines against 2-1. Siege tanks are getting obliterated. Everything in the army for Hart is evaporated. Now moving into the third base. GG. Polt again with an amazing comeback, a stunning performance. He was the WCS America Season 2 champion for a reason. He is here to reclaim his title. He wants it a consecutive time, and he's in prime position to do that.
And he just got one step closer. Now he only